Hello everyone, happy new year to all my subscribers and returning subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. So in today's tutorial, we're learning how to make this lovely fascinator. So please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe. Let's get started. So these are the materials I'll be using. So this is my crinoline, as you can see. This is my bias. This is bridal satin, and bridal satin. And this is my crinoline. This is my crinoline. This is the thick one. You can use any one. This is the thick one. So the first thing I'll be cutting out is the bridal satin, and we are going to be fixing this crinoline inside the bridal satin. So I'll take the measurement. What I have here is almost 3 inches. So if I want to cut out the fabric, I'll cut out 7 inches because the crinoline itself is 6 inches. Then I'll cut out 7 inches. So by the time I fold it like this and sew, the crinoline will fit into it. So I'll be cutting out 7 inches by 16 inches. As you can see, 7 inches by 16 inches, and I cut out three of it. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go to my sewing machine. I'll fold it like this, then I'll sew half an inch away. I'll sew it in a way that this crinoline can fit into it, as you can see. So I'll be sewing half an inch like this all the way to this part. I'll do the same thing for the other fabric. So I'm done sewing, so I'll turn it inside out. So I'm done sewing, as you can see. So I'll move this sewn part to the back like this. So before I iron it, I'll be fixing my crinoline inside. So I'll take it to my sewing machine. I'll sew I'll sew this part down. I'll sew it down, then I'll iron it. So I'm done sewing, as you can see. So I added extra one to it. So if you're cutting, instead of cutting out three piece, you cut out four. And you don't have to use 16 inches, you can use less. So the next thing, I'll get my needle and thread, then I'll squeeze it a little bit, then I'll sew it down. So I'm done sewing this, as you can see. So this is my crinoline. The measurement I have here is 65 inches, as you can see. So I'll use my USU glue to secure the edge of the crinoline. I'll put my USU glue here just to secure the edge. So I've applied my glue, so I'll allow it to dry for some time. So the next thing I'm going to do is to sew my bias. I'll be sewing the bias on the edge of the crinoline. So the first thing I'll do, I'll cut out, the measurement I have here is 65 inches. So I'll cut it out on the bias. So this is the bias, 65 inches. I'll cut two of it. Then the next thing I'll do, I'll sew the bias together like this. I'll sew it on this line on the bias tip. I'll sew just one side of it. I'll sew it all the way down. So for the crinoline, I'll place my bias tip like this. As you can see, you can see that it's joined together. We sew it together. So I'll place it like this. Take it to my sewing machine. Just place it like this. Then sew it neatly. I'll sew it down neatly, as you can see. So I'll sew it all the way down. So on this part, I'll be using my needle and thread to draw my gathers. You can use this particular thread to draw it, but I'll be using my needle and thread. So I'll just place it here, then I'll draw the. So I'm done sewing. So these two edge here. So I'll be covering it with my bias. I'll be using my bias to cover it. So I'll place it together like this. I'll take it to my sewing machine. I'll sew it down. Then I'll then use my bias to cover up this rough edge. As you can see, I'll cover. So I've sewn it down. So I've covered this rough side. So I'll split it back. You can decide to leave it like this. So I'll sew it, use my needle and thread to sew it down like this. For this particular fascinator, you can attach it to Alice band, you can attach it to elastic, you can attach it to a cap. So, but I'll be using this fabric as the base where I'll be attaching it. So the measurement I have here is 36 inches, which is 1 yard. Then the length is by 58. So basically, the amount of fabric you use, just get the just measure the amount of fabric that will go around your head, basically. So I'll fold it like this, the 36 inches, I'll fold it like this. Then I'll sew it all the way around. Sew it like this. I'll sew it straight down. I'll sew it straight down. Then I'll leave a space where I will turn it inside out. So I'm done sewing, so I will turn it inside out from this point. So I'm done sewing, as you can see. So from this point, I will measure out 17 inches. I'll measure out 17 inches. I'll come in by 3.5. So why I'm coming in here is because when you want to tie it, you fold it like this. You fold it a little bit before tying. So I'll be sewing this design on this part like this. So at this point, you can use your glue. So at this point, you can use your glue to glue it down. But I'll be using my needle and thread to tack it down. I'll tack it down. Then I'll get my crinoline. I'll place it on it like this. Then I'll continue stitching. So at this point, you can get any trimmings to cover up that part. You can use feathers like this. Anything you have that can just cover up this rough edge, just go ahead and use it. You can, at this point, you can apply your glue. You can use your glue to do it. So this is how it looks like. As you can see, I've gone to iron it down. So I've ironed it. So this is how it looks like. So this is it. So I'll be tying it for you guys to see. So before you tie, you just fold this part in like this, as if you're creating a pleat. You place it like this on your head. So this long one, you can decide to tie it through the back or through the front. Tie it through the front or through the back.